Long time no see. Good evening. I'm back for a little bit of a development on my football club, GRIMSBY Town Football Club. There's been bit breaking news this past hour and a half, breaking about GRIMSBY Town's proposed possible takeover that could be happening very, very shortly. It's a gripping time for us town fans. It should be interesting as to what's going to happen. I'm just going to read you a little bit here, a bit of information I was able to pluck off the net about what could be happening. Apparently, some of this says that GRIMSBY Town could be on the brink of a takeover ahead of the 1920 season. Plans for a new town stadium would also be integral to the club moving forward. One source said there's been speculation for years, but this is as close as it's come. This looks like, if not a done deal, then it is very nearly done. Obviously, everyone knows about John Fenty. He's the majority shareholder at GRIMSBY Town Football Club. He actually owns 42.82% of the club. That doesn't make him the owner, but that makes him the main shareholder. So I suppose if you want to put it that way, he is the owner, but he doesn't like going down as that. Second in line would be Mike Parker at just under 22%, and the Mariners Trust own just over 14%. He says here, John Fenty, a long-standing figurehead of the club, serving as chairman between 2004 and 2010, he has been the largest shareholder at Brundle Park for the last 15 years. If everyone remembers what happened before that, when the old chairman Peter Fernew was in charge, he was in charge during the collapse of ITV Digital, and John stepped in at the 11th hour to basically keep the club afloat, which is what he's done. So this is how serious I think people are starting to take this, as though it could be a real serious thing. Speaking to the Grimsby Live, the Grimsby Telegraph website, John has said himself, for a period of time, I have said many times that we are looking for new custodians. And this is something I will say on John Fenty's defence. He's never said that he's not looking. He's just always said that, he won't just sell it to just anybody. We are looking for someone who has the same heart and desire for the club to progress. The board has held discussions with interested parties in the past, and we have said what understanding we want to see and what aspirations they have, backed with a business plan. And from the business standpoint, you need that. I know that a lot of people have wanted John out for a long time, me included, but I've always been a bit more leaning towards John Fenty for that. But it looks like this could be something that is really, really serious. But we don't have any tangible interest at the time that he made that statement. I believe that was back in November. He was making the statement that they don't have any parties, or none, obviously, that he could mention at the time. A month on from that interview, in the light of this latest development, a proposed takeover of the club is substantially further along the line than it has been for in the past 15 years since John Fenty first stepped into the top position at the club. And this is true. This is the furthest. I've heard rumours going around. I heard rumours a few weeks ago from somebody saying the club's going to be taken over. The club's going to be taken over. I challenged this person, and one of the reasons why I challenged that, and I don't apologise for challenging him, is GRIMSBY Town fans have heard this for so many years. That the club's been taken over. I know this from a reliable source. It's been taken over. So I challenged him. He obviously couldn't say anything. I'm not gonna run him under the bus here, but we got quite heated about it. But my honest opinion is this is great news for the club. Obviously, everyone knows that he got appointed as part of the Tories of the council, and I think it was getting to the point for John, where it's like with the new stadium that he's been trying to bring on for the last 6-7 years. He obviously, in those meetings, he cannot be involved. Because of that, he can't push anything through himself. He has to rely on his board members to try and push it through, because of the conflict of interest that he would actually have. This is very, very exciting times. We don't want to jump the gun, because I think that would be the biggest mistake us Grimsby fans could do. Because even if it is in like an advanced stage, which the Grimsby Telegraph is stating, and other social media outlets are stating, Humberside is stating the same. If we jump the gun as Grimsby Town fans, then we're going to just lose our minds. I think my take on it at the moment is the fact that John, I don't care who likes John Fenty or who dislikes John Fenty. Without John Fenty, I don't care what backlash you get from Grimsby Town supporters or anything for this, we wouldn't have Grimsby Town Football Club if it wasn't for John Fenty. I know a lot of fans don't like hearing that, whether he's put money in or whether he hasn't put money in or whatever, but I never didn't believe that John didn't care about Grimsby. Have I always agreed with his decisions? Have I? Hell. Has he been the best owner? Has he? Hell. He just hasn't been always a great owner. But what I would always say is, it's like going back to his Q&A back in, I think it was the beginning of this year, or at least the back end of last year, when he even admitted that he probably didn't back the manager enough. And whether you liked it or we went into a slump after that, you have to admire John Fenty for saying that. I probably didn't back the manager enough, and we ended up sort of mid-table, and we've ended up in the last 2 weeks bringing 2 quality strikers. We have missed out, unfortunately, on Andy Cook. But we have got in the former Salford and Mansfield striker Matt Green, and we've also signed the former Bradford and Wimbledon striker James Hansen, all in the past fortnight, both in the last fortnight. But back to this, back a little bit more about this. The people from left to right, the Grimsby Town directors, as it stands at the moment, are of course John Fenty, Philip Day and John Wood, and it's usually Philip Day that had to keep going to the council every time the stadium was bought up, obviously because of John's conflict of interest. I'm not going to read everything out about this. We've also got here, he told Grimsby Live that was one of the first issues. We met with the chief exec. Anything to do with the community stadium will be dealt with by the wider cabinet, excluding me and led by the leader. What John was speaking about, that is, again, that's down to his conflict of interest. He couldn't go into a cabinet meeting when Grimsby Town were being spoke about, or at least the new stadium was being spoke about, and that, I think, was getting more and more frustrating, because he wanted to push it through, or I believe he's always wanted to get the club right, but he's not been able to due to obviously his conflict of interest being the main shareholder at Grimsby. It says here, North Region Council has already nailed its colours to the mast in seeking a community stadium for the club. So the council looks to have backed this. They look to have backed opportunities for Grimsby to get it. Apparently, as of tonight, the takeovers and ownership test the potential new owners has been taken and has been passed. As I said, there is more red tape to go through, but apparently that has been passed. They're now on to the due diligence stage of the potential takeover. Again, one of the reasons why I reiterate, do not go over the top, is takeovers, I want to be blunt, can collapse. So I think John's still being tight-lipped about what really about until anything is, I'm going to use a Stephen Wonder line here, signed, sealed and delivered. But as for the EFL, they are now involved in this. As I said, the potential new owners have passed the test they need to go through, and now obviously they're going through due diligence side of it. So we'll see what happens in the upcoming time. This is going to be an exciting time for all Grimsby Town fans like myself, and I hope there is something from this. One thing I will say before I go, a couple of things I'll mention. First of all, I'd like to mention that I'm going to be, I won't be as long off YouTube this time round as I have been. I know I haven't updated for a long time, but because I've really not been sure what to do. I'm working on a few things, but one thing I can tell you for the Grimsby Town fans on here, or football fans, if you're just a football fan, you know, I will be putting together a new Grimsby Town podcast dropping the end of July. I'm hoping to get it out the last couple of days in July. It's going to be Up the Mountains podcast. It's going to be with me as host, and there will be other people joining me, other friends and so on joining me for that. The main premise of what we're going to do is we're going to talk all things Grimsby. Hopefully by then we may have new owners. If we do, in the meantime, before the podcast drops, I will be updating on this YouTube channel. But my overall idea for this at the moment is what we're mainly going to be hitting on is mainly all things Grimsby, mainly fan interactions and things like that. And I'm gonna be doing something. I'll let it out of the bag. I'm going to be doing something for disabled supporters like myself about travel. So. And going to away games and really what it's kind of like. I haven't quite thought of a name for that yet, but it will be in there. But it's going to be all things Grimsby. It's going to be an exciting venture for me that I've basically come up with myself. And I thought, do you know what, myself, give it a shot. So that's what I'm going to do. But in the meantime, so that'll be dropping hopefully the end of July. I'm hoping to get it out before the start of the season, or it's the week before, because what we will be doing on the first episode, I will give this away, on the first episode we will be reviewing last season. We'll be reviewing any summer business up to that point. The fixtures came out yesterday, so when that, we will be reviewing that. We will also obviously, by the time that drops, we will be sort of talking about this potential takeover. Probably by then it may be taken over by then, so we'll have plenty to talk about on the first show. I do hope that fans, Grimsby Town fans, but also football fans, give it a listen. I want to, I know there's good people at good set of fans that actually do a Grimsby Town podcast already. And what I want to do is I want to try and bring my sort of spin to it and my kind of flavour to it. So we're going to be doing that. It'll be up tomorrow as podcast, as I said. It'll be up late July or the very first day, second day of August. I will let you know exactly where. So there will be updates on the site and regarding the on the YouTube page regarding the podcast. But anyway, this is big news for Grimsby Town. I hope this isn't a red herring, but it doesn't sound like it is. So let's hope that Grimsby Town can get new owners and start moving forward. I think if we get new owners, I don't see Grimsby in the mess that they probably, or the bookies have put them in at the start of the season, that they've got us down as joint favourite, or one of the joint favourites to get relegated. I never saw that in the first place, and I definitely don't see that now. But we'll see how it develops. Any new information in the meantime, I will bring it to you in a few videos. But as well, we'll be going in depth on the first episode of the podcast, alongside other transfer deals that's done before then. Just to review pre-season, and also preview the upcoming season, the 1920 season for Grimsby Town. Anyway, that is me done for this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. Drop a comment down below if you want. Like and subscribe to me. I said I will be back very soon, I hope, with some more takeover information as it comes available. But I do hope you look forward to that, and I will give you more information as well about the podcast coming up. Anyway, that's enough of me. I will see you all soon, and like and subscribe for more Grimsby information, and there will be some new things coming up in the near future. So take care, everybody. I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.